Howdy, howdy, listeners. This is your host, Random Nerd, on the Critical Thinking Nerd podcast. What is the label of racist? As always, let's define the terms of racism and racist. Racism, the prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Racist, a person who is prejudiced against or antagonistic toward people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. Now that we defined each term, the most used term that is abused and mistreated is racist. The word itself is used to define the actions and behaviors of an individual and or communities of their involvement in prejudice or discrimination based on race. Verbiage usage, using the term racist as a repeated label, it is discrimination by the individual using the term. Let's cut the bullshit and get straight to the point. The political left have used the term racist to label President Trump and anyone associated with him. To cut to the core of it, power and control, with a hint of extreme insecurities and low self-esteem. Let's stick to the former, power and control. By using and abusing the term racist, the political left and ideologically liberals are essentially using the term racist as a destructive and dehumanizing rhetoric to have a sense of power and control over anyone who disagrees with them. To put it bluntly, the political left and liberals are being racist and perpetuating racism to discriminate, even criminalize critical thought. Here's an article from 2003 on how labels not just divides society, but reestablishes the societal, quote, I'm better than you are, unquote, regression. Racial labels separate people, by Christopher Mikesell, published February 18, 2003. When people discuss the human race, I get the distinct impression that they mean exactly that humans are divided into teams by skin color, and these teams are competing against each other for global power and the prize on the other side of the tape of success. Just mentioning race in a room full of people will get you an earful. Does race matter in college admissions? Should it? What about employment? Why is it that white people in Europe and North America seem better off than yellow and brown-skinned folks in other places? Or is that really the case? This is getting out of hand. The existence of race is truly a blight upon our society. How else can somebody just take a look at a person and make snap judgments about where they are from, what they can do, and who their parents were? We don't need that kind of preconception in the world. We don't need it to perpetuate race's place as a vital criterion for evaluating people. So what can we do about it? I say get rid of it. No, I don't mean getting rid of people. I mean getting rid of a label, the label. There is no justifiable reason to use race as a criteria for anything. Race is just the color of your skin. Race is just a label. It reflects no practical value. Black people are just as likely or unlikely to be hardworking, competent people as white people. Yellow people, brown, olive, pink, tan, blue, or green people. Does that sound silly? It isn't. There are even many tattooed people denied certain jobs because of the pigments in their skin. People really can come in any color. But is that color relevant? I shout a defiant no in the faces of everyone who says otherwise. Once we realize that color is truly irrelevant, we must re-examine our culture's obsession with the indication of race. Once we see that it does not matter what color a man or woman is, we might scratch our heads and ponder upon looking at many of the forms in existence today. Why do people ask, quote, what ethnicity are you, unquote, if it does not matter? Why must people insist on gathering data that has no bearing on learning ability, job performance, or interpersonal skill? The questions of race we see every day in our nation's information collecting practices are ridiculous, and no one, absolutely no one, should have to fill in such bubbles. People do not work in such easily differentiated groups, so the mere idea of subjecting people to such a cubbyhole categorization is ludicrous. Are you an, quote, Asian Pacific Islander, unquote, a, quote, person of Hispanic origin, unquote, or even an ambiguous, quote unquote, other? These are idiotic labels. Grouping folks who fill in the same generalized racial group together is about as logical as grouping everyone named Jack together. Is that how we are to determine our diversification? By labels? Perhaps we don't have enough Mort timers in our school. A name is as valid a label as any. So do we need to recruit more of them? It's diversification, right? It follows the same principle as setting racial quotas anyway. There is one way to help solve, if not at least alleviate this problem. Just don't provide or ask for racial data. Personally, I do not care one iota if the person I'm working next to or at some point in the future possibly hiring has, I don't know, skin that glows in the dark like those UH lab mice. The only thing we can and should be asking is, quote, how good are you at what you do, unquote. That is the measure of value. That is the measure of competence. And that is the measure of a truly just and non-racist society. It is the measure of a society that truly cares about ability. It is the measure of meritocracy. If you want to say you don't care what a race a person is, then fine. But you will be a better person if you can show it to the world by going out there and practicing it. That will be indicative of merit. End of article. Continue to episode 4 on Labels of Society series, where we dive into the psychology of the usage of these labels. If you found this episode meaningful, please continue to listen to my next episode as I dive deeper and research further to share my knowledge with you. Thank you.